Hi everyone. Okay, so I'm sitting outside today. I am gonna go for a walk soon, but I just had the urge to record a video, and so I'm doing that. Um, so I was thinking about, here I go thinking again, my business. And it's funny because I was talking with a coach that I'm working with about the tangible result, right? That I offer and have offered in the past, like my clients and future clients, and even when I'm like what I do naturally, right? When I'm like coaching, not even coaching, but just like what I do naturally when I talk to people, when I talk to my friends, even like when I'm actually coaching my clients. Like it's funny because I feel like in some senses you're supposed to be selling something really tangible, right? Like, so for example, if you're a career coach, like I can help you get a job. If you are a weight loss coach or a fitness coach, you will lose weight. If you are a sports coach, right, and you want to go into the NBA, you will get into the NBA, right? I will make your body conditioned so that your muscles move in the way to shoot the ball into the basket all the time. You can do defense, offense, whatever. And I think for me, I offer something a little bit different. I offer peace, self-awareness, consistency, and sometimes that's not tangible. Now, the way it is tangible is you can measure it by seeing what you're doing differently, how you're showing up differently. But a lot of the things that I do focus on what's happening internally to get you the external result that you want. And I'm thinking about my client avatar, and I don't know why I'm doing this out loud, y'all, because part of me is ashamed that I'm a little bit in this phase of figuring it out, but I want to say it out loud, so why the fuck not? So where I am in my journey and what I feel so strongly about is that the world of work is changing. For those of you who know me personally, I've had a tremendous career. I've done so many good things, like amazing things. I've been really successful in my career when I was a 9-to-5er in the workforce. And I decided to leave because I saw and felt that the 9-to-5 workforce was not doing it for me anymore, for many reasons, which I will go into another post. But I also feel like there are things happening and there's shifts happening in the world where the traditional workforce, how and why it was created, how institutions and organizations are clamoring back control and making us into these folks where we don't have time to like really live life and enjoy life. How sometimes I feel like our values are shaped by how we need to present ourselves so that we can be hired and receive money to have food on the table and have a place to live, right? All of that, I think, is embodied with who I am and why I chose to leave the workforce, right? And so when you leave the workforce, what's next is you work for yourself. And so that's why I chose this path. But what I'm realizing is that I still have some of the mental programming and beliefs and wiring of someone in the workforce, in addition to my trauma, the way I was brought up, the education school system, like all this stuff, right? And I am trying to let go of that old programming, but my mind and my body are like, well, we don't know what's next, and this shit is scary, so we're gonna choose the devil we know instead of the devil we don't know, because the devil we don't know could be worse. And so all of this stuff with my mother's passing has sort of come up because my mother, at some point before she went back into working she worked for a hospital for a while in administration. She was an Avon saleswoman, and she was good. She was good. So my mother also had that entrepreneurial spirit in her. She was an immigrant, right? So I know this stuff is in me. And I was talking to my friend Kim. Hey, Kim, love you, girl. And she said, Erica, you get to decide what parts of your mother you want to reclaim. You get to decide the story that you define of your mother and what she means to you and what she means to your daughter and your son, right? And the future of the line. And so as I think about who my mother was and how she was able to become such a successful Avon salesman, and also what made her go back into the workforce, and also all of the discrimination that she experienced as an immigrant, as a Black woman, as a woman in general, right, coming to a foreign country. I'm realizing where she may have gotten stuck. She also had a family and a husband, right, and what she had to choose between doing something that was more stable versus sales of Avon. And I'm sure there's so much about this story that I don't really know, because my mother didn't really. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But I say all this to say, I am trying to think about how I am. Who am I now? What parts of my mother do I want to reclaim? What parts of myself do I know that are my natural given talents? And how do I provide my gifts to the world, knowing that I will receive abundance in response, right? And we can call that money, we can call that whatever we want, but also not trying to fall into the trap of making it so businessy and making it so like, I was saying this to my coach the other day, like making it so corporate-y. And I think those are the things that turn me off. Like, I want a soul-aligned calling. And yes, like, that is a business, but I do realize that I think I have corporate trauma. And when I think about doing the businessy things, my body automatically like reacts. And so I'm having a hard time translating my natural gifts, which is really helping people with their internal struggles, especially, again, those who left the workforce because they felt the same way I did about the workforce and are trying to pursue their calling, but they're running into roadblocks, right? And so when I think about marketing that, do I say, oh yeah, I help your business make tons of money? Like, yes, that's a result. The result is that you will make money. The result is that you will have clients. But for some reason, leading with that gives me all types of thoughts and feelings. And I think I need to sit with it a little bit more and figure out what that is. If that means that I just need to accept that, or if that means I need to change my language or whatever. But yeah, I'm just in this space of like knowing who I am, what I'm good at, and like letting that come out authentically and doing the things that feel in alignment with that and selling it. Although I want to say I'm gifting it, in knowing that I'm going to receive abundance. And by gifting, I don't mean it's free. But like, I pay for things that I find of value. And I know there are people out there that will find what I do and what I offer of value. And so how do I give this gift to them so that they can receive this value, right? Because you kind of have to give to get, right? If you want food, you have to pay for it. If you want food and you live whatever, not by a store, you have to go out and you have to like pick plants and kill an animal, right? So you have to like do something to receive nourishment. So that's the way I'm trying to think about it differently. So I think the whole point, because I know I'm going off of all these tangents, and again, I probably have no sense of what I'm saying makes sense anyway, but I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying that I am reshaping the way that I think about what I do. And yes, it is a business, but I can define what that means for me, and I'm doing that right now. And so you should be expecting that I'm going to have some offers out soon. So for those of you who are like me, who left the workforce because you realize that the workforce in its current state, and probably in its previous states, were never meant for you, and that you were meant to do something different, and you've started it, but you're having all the feels and all the feelings, I give you relief, I give you peace, and I give you the opportunity to commit over and over again to your calling, to your purpose, and to show up. Because that's what I'm doing right now. In the midst of everything that's happening in the world, in my inner world, in my external world, in my personal life, in my family life, I'm staying committed. I'm staying committed, and it's hard. And I am now putting together my framework and my process for how I do that. And I know there are going to be people like me who need this, because we got to change the dynamic. And people like me should be able to earn a living doing what they do best. And yeah, it's messy. And yeah, I'm figuring it out. And yeah, I'm grieving. And yeah, I'm a mom. Oh, it's my son's birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday, baby. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. So this was long and this was all over the place. And it probably doesn't make sense to a lot of people. But for those who it did make sense to, thank you for listening. Thank you for loving me through it. And I'm about to go for my walk.